The humidity in the detention wing clung to Cassian Vale's skin like a second layer of clothing. He wiped his brow for the third time in as many minutes, cursing the failing climate control system. Budget cuts, they'd said. Reallocation of resources to the front lines, they'd explained. What they meant was that guards like him, stuck watching prisoners on a backwater moon, didn't matter enough for basic comfort. His boots echoed against the metal grating as he made his rounds. Cell after cell of defeated soldiers, their spirits as dim as the flickering overhead lights. Cassian had stopped looking at their faces months ago. It was easier that way. Easier to forget they were people with families, dreams, reasons for fighting. Just like him, the last cell on the corridor was different. It always was. Cassian paused outside the reinforced door, his hand hovering over the access panel. He shouldn't stop here. His rotation didn't require individual cell checks. But for the past week, he'd found himself drawn to this particular door, to the prisoner behind it. The panel beeped as he pressed his palm against it. Locks disengaged with a mechanical hiss. She was sitting in the corner when he entered, knees drawn to her chest, silver hair cascading over her shoulders like liquid moonlight. Her skin held an iridescent quality that shifted between pale blue and lavender, depending on how the light caught it. The Luminari were renowned for their beauty. Even among the dozens of species humanity had encountered since reaching the stars, but seeing one in person, especially her, was something else entirely. Narina looked up as the door sealed behind him, and Cassian felt his breath catch. Her eyes were the color of distant nebulous whirls of violet and gold that seemed to hold entire galaxies within their depths. "You shouldn't keep coming here," she said softly, her voice carrying a melodic quality that made his translator implant almost unnecessary. "It will cause you trouble." Cassian moved closer, careful to keep his expression neutral, despite his racing heart. "I'm just checking on the prisoners. Standard procedure. You've checked on me 7 times this week." Faint smile touched her lips. "The others, you've checked twice." He couldn't argue with that. Instead, he pulled a ration pack from his jacket and held it out. "You barely touched your meal earlier." Marina's eyes widened slightly. "If they catch you bringing me extra food, they won't." He set it down within her reach. "Eat. You're already too thin." She studied him for a long moment, those impossible eyes searching his face. Then, slowly, she reached for the ration pack. Her fingers were long and elegant, moving with an almost hypnotic grace. "Why do you show me kindness, Cassian Vale?" She'd learned his name somehow, probably from overhearing the other guards. "Your people and mine are at war, are we?" Cassian leaned against the wall, suddenly tired. "I don't remember declaring war on anyone. I just woke up one day and they told me who my enemies were supposed to be. And you believe them?" He met her gaze. "I don't know what I believe anymore." The admission hung between them, dangerous and honest. Cassian knew he should leave, return to his patrol, maintain the professional distance that kept soldiers sane, but something about Narina made him want to stay, to talk, to understand. "Tell me about your home," he said instead. "The Luminari worlds. What are they like?" Narina's expression softened, a distant look entering her eyes. "Beautiful. Our cities grow from living crystal that sings in the wind. We have 3 suns, and at dawn, the light refracts through the crystal spires. Painting the sky in colors your language doesn't have words for. It sounds incredible." "It is," her voice dropped. Or it was. Before the expansion conflicts, before territory disputes and resource wars turned neighbors into enemies, Cassian slid down the wall to sit on the floor, protocol forgotten. "How did you end up here?" "In this cell." Narina was quiet for so long he thought she wouldn't answer. Then she spoke, her words careful and measured. "I was part of a diplomatic envoy. Unauthorized by our military, but supported by many who believe this war is wrong. We came to negotiate, to find common ground." She laughed bitterly. "Your security forces labeled us infiltrators. Shot down our vessel. I'm the only survivor." The weight of her words settled in Cassian's chest. "That's not what they told us. They said you were captured during a raid on a supply depot." "Of course they did." Narina set aside the half-eaten ration pack. Both our governments lie, Cassian. They have to. Otherwise, how would they justify sending young people like us to kill each other? Before he could respond, footsteps echoed in the corridor. Cassian was on his feet instantly, his hand moving to his sidearm by instinct. "Please," Narina whispered urgently, rising to her feet. Her chains rattled with the movement. "They're going to execute me. Tomorrow at dawn." I heard the guards talking. Cassian's blood ran cold. What? High-value prisoner, political complications, easier to eliminate than negotiate for. She stepped closer, close enough that he could smell the faint scent of her like rain on stone, crisp and clean. "Show mercy, human. My body could give you powerful offspring. The Luminari and humans are compatible. More than compatible. Please help me escape, and I swear I'll give you anything." The desperation in her voice tore at something deep inside him. Cassian reached out before he could stop himself, his hand cupping her face. Her skin was cool and impossibly smooth beneath his palm. "You don't have to offer me that," he said roughly. "I'll help you because it's right." "Not because... Her eyes searched his. "Because I think I'm falling in love with you," he admitted, the truth spilling out like a confession. "And I don't even know how that's possible." Narina's hand came up to cover his, her touch sending electricity through his veins. "Among my people, we believe souls recognize each other across any distance, any difference. Perhaps yours recognized mine." The footsteps were getting closer. Cassian made a decision that would change everything. Tonight, he whispered, "When the shift changes, I'll come for you. They'll hunt you for this. Let them." Stepped back reluctantly, his hand falling away from her face. "Some things are worth the risk." As he left the cell, Cassian didn't look back. If he had, he might have lost his nerve. Instead, he focused on what needed to be done. He had 8 hours to plan an escape from one of the most secure facilities in the sector. For her, he'd find a way. For Narina, he'd risk everything. The twin moons cast silver shadows across the detention facility's exterior as Cassian made his final preparations. His hands were steady as he disabled the security cameras one by one. Using override codes he'd memorized months ago, codes meant only for emergencies. If this wasn't an emergency, he didn't know what was. His heart hammered against his ribs as he approached Narina's cell for the last time as her guard. The corridor was empty. He'd made sure of that by volunteering for the graveyard shift and suggesting his partner take an extended break. 20 minutes. That's all he had. The door hissed open, and Narina was already standing, alert and ready. She'd somehow managed to clean herself up, her silver hair braided back from her face, revealing the elegant bone structure that made her look both alien and achingly beautiful. "You came," she breathed, relief flooding her features. "Did you doubt me?" Cassian moved quickly to her restraints, using his security clearance to unlock them. "Yes." Her honesty struck him. "In your position, I would have doubted myself." The chains fell away, and Narina rubbed her wrists where the metal had chafed her iridescent skin. Cassian pulled a guard's uniform from his pack, stolen from the laundry facility, and handed it to her. "Put this on. Keep your head down. We have a 16-minute window before the next patrol sweep." Narina changed quickly, unself-conscious in her movements. Cassian turned away, giving her privacy, despite the urgency. When he looked back, she'd transformed into a passable imitation of a facility guard. Though her distinctive coloring and eyes would give her away under close scrutiny, "We need to move," he said. Leading her into the corridor, they moved through the facility like ghosts. Cassian's intimate knowledge of patrol routes and security blind spots guiding them. Every shadow seemed to hide potential discovery, every sound amplified in the oppressive silence. Narina stayed close, her breathing controlled despite what must have been tremendous fear. The eastern maintenance exit was their gola, service entrance rarely used and currently malfunctioning. According to the reports Cassian had carefully ensured were filed, but not yet addressed. He'd been planning this for 3 days, since he'd first heard the whispered rumors of her execution. They were 50 meters from freedom when voices echoed behind them. "Halt. Identify yourselves?" Cassian's blood turned to ice. He recognized that voice, Argent Torres, a by-the-book soldier who never missed a detail. Run, Cassian hissed. Shoving Narina forward, they sprinted toward the exit, alarm klaxons suddenly wailing to life. Red emergency lights bathed everything in crimson as blast doors began descending throughout the facility. Cassian fired his weapon at the control panel beside the maintenance door. Frying the circuits and jamming the blast door mechanism, Narina squeezed through the opening first, and Cassian dove after her just as weapons fire sparked against the metal where his head had been. They tumbled into the night, hitting the ground hard and rolling down a small embankment. There, Cassian pointed to a dense grove of bioluminescent trees in the distance. Those caves I mentioned. We can lose them there. They ran across the open ground, exposed and vulnerable. Cassian could hear shouts behind them, orders being barked, the whine of vehicles starting up. The hunt had begun. The trees closed around them like luminous sentinels, their leaves giving off a soft blue-green glow that made running easier, but also left a trail of disturbed light in their wake. Cassian led Narina deeper into the grove, following a path he'd scouted during his off-duty hours. Preparing for this possibility, the cave entrance was concealed behind a curtain of hanging vines, almost invisible unless you knew where to look. They pushed through and stumbled into darkness. The sound of their ragged breathing echoing off stone walls, Cassian activated a small light, revealing a surprisingly spacious cavern. Ancient markings covered the walls, definitely not human, but not Luminari either. Some previous civilization had made this place sacred. We should be safe here for now, he said, setting down his pack. The caves form a network. Multiple exits. They won't be able to track us easily. Narina leaned against the wall, her chest heaving. Even exhausted and frightened, she was breathtaking. The bioluminescent moss growing on the cave walls cast a gentle glow that made her skin shimmer like starlight. You've sacrificed everything for me, she said softly. Your career, your standing, possibly your life. Why, Cassian? We barely know each other. He moved closer, drawn by something he couldn't name. I know enough. I know you tried to make peace and were punished for it. I know you're brave and honest. I know that every time I looked at you in that cell, I saw someone who shouldn't be there. He paused, his voice dropping. And I know that when I'm near you, I feel more alive than I have in years. Narina reached up, her cool fingers tracing the line of his jaw. Among my people, there is a concept we call Kestara. It means soul recognition when two beings meet and understand, on a level deeper than words, that they are meant to be connected. Is that what this is? Cassian covered her hand with his, turning his face to press a kiss against her palm. I believe so. Her eyes glowed softly in the dim light. An effect he'd learned was tied to Luminari emotions. But there are things you should know about my people, about what connection means to us. Cassian settled onto the ground, pulling her down beside him. Tell me. Narina was quiet for a moment, gathering her thoughts. The Luminari bond differently than humans. When we choose a mate, it's not just physical or emotional. There's a biological component, a sharing of essence at the cellular level. It's why we're compatible with humans, why offspring between our species are possible. The offer you made in the cell, Cassian said, understanding dawning. She nodded. It wasn't just desperation, though fear played its part. There was something in you that called to something in me, even then. A recognition. Her hand found his in the darkness. If we bond, Cassian, it's permanent. Not in the legal sense, but in a deeper way. You would carry part of me, and I would carry part of you for the rest of our lives. The magnitude of what she was describing should have frightened him. Instead, Cassian felt a strange calm settle over him. And if I want that? If I want you, knowing all of this? Narina's eyes brightened further, swirls of violet and gold intensifying. Then I would ask if you're certain. Because once done, there's no reversal. Your people might reject you. Mine might see you as a contamination of our bloodline. We would belong to neither world in both. Sounds lonely, Cassian admitted. It could be. She shifted closer, her body warm against his despite her naturally cooler temperature. Or it could be the beginning of something beautiful, a bridge between worlds. Outside, the sounds of search parties grew closer, then faded as they moved in the wrong direction. The cave felt like a pocket universe, removed from the war and politics and hatred that had brought them to this moment. Cassian turned to face Narina fully, his hand cupping her face the way he had in the cell. "I'm certain," he said. "I don't know how I know, but I am. Whatever this is between us, I want to explore it. I want to know you. All of you." "Then let me show you," she whispered, "how the Luminari love." She kissed him, and it was unlike anything Cassian had ever experienced. Her lips were cool and soft, and as they connected, he felt a tingling warmth that spread from the point of contact throughout his entire body. It wasn't unpleasant. Rather, it felt like coming home after a long journey. Narina's hands moved to his chest, fingers splaying over his heart. The tingling intensified, and Cassian gasped against her mouth. Through their kiss, he could feel her not just physically but emotionally. Her fear, her hope, her growing affection for him. It was overwhelming and intimate and perfect. When they finally broke apart, both breathing heavily, Cassian noticed a faint glow beneath Narina's hands. Looking down, he saw his skin luminescent, where she touched him, like he'd absorbed some of her natural radiance. "The bonding has begun," she explained, her voice husky. "It will take time to complete, and it requires more than just a kiss." Cassian understood. His body certainly understood, responding to her nearness with an urgency that had nothing to do with danger and everything to do with desire. "Here now, if you're willing." Her eyes searched his face. "The bond strengthens us both. You'll gain some of my people's abilities, enhanced senses, faster healing, improved strength, and I'll gain some of yours. We'll be stronger together than apart." It was practical and passionate all at once. They were hunted, alone, facing an uncertain future. But they had each other, and somehow, it seemed like enough. Cassian kissed her again, deeper this time, his hands tangling in her silver hair. "Show me," he murmured against her lips. "Show me everything." And in the ancient cave, lit by bioluminescent moss and the glow of their joining, Narina did exactly that. They came together with a desperation born of fear and desire, their bodies moving in instinctive rhythm. As they joined, the glow intensified, spreading across both their skins until they shimmered like stars. Cassian felt the moment the bond locked into Plaza's sensation like a door opening in his mind, allowing him to sense Narina's presence even when his eyes were closed. Her emotions became his, and his became hers, creating a feedback loop of pleasure and connection that left them both gasping. Afterward, they lay tangled together on his spread jacket, Cassian's fingers tracing lazy patterns on Narina's luminescent skin. He could feel her contentment through their bond, warm and satisfied. "What happens now?" he asked, though he already knew the answer wouldn't be simple. Narina propped herself up on one elbow, looking down at him with eyes full of affection and determination. "Now we survive. We find others like Ish-humans and Luminari who see this war for the tragedy it is. We build something new." "It's a big dream," Cassian said softly. "All worthwhile things start with impossible dreams." She kissed him gently. "Besides, we have something most people never find. We have Kastara. We have each other." Outside, the search continued, but inside their sanctuary, Cassian and Narina held each other close. Two souls from different worlds choosing to create their own future. The war would rage on, and they would face countless challenges ahead, but they would face them together. Bonded in body, mind, and spirit, proof that love could transcend even the deepest divides.